You know, I just realized that my microphone was not on and I was talking that entire time. That's embarrassing. So, let's try something. Let's try this again. Thanks for coming to the stream, guys. I do appreciate it. Mutant Boy 109, thank you, sir. I do appreciate that as well. Now, before we begin today, I do need to take care of house cleaning things. Today, I want to end the stream just a tiny bit early, around 3:45-ish, just because I have a termite man coming to inspect the house. So I just want to make sure that I'm there. You know, I don't want to be streaming him having to walk in the background and trying to find a few things. So I'll go ahead and do that. And so just about 10 or 15 minutes early, so nothing too crazy. The other thing is that I did finally find a job, thankfully. It's actually a co-op position, but I do start that next Monday. Now, if I'm not mistaken, it is a 3-day-a-week job, so it'd be Monday, Wednesday, Friday. That's what at least my understanding is right now. If that's true, great. We can still stream then on Tuesdays and Thursdays, although the Friday stream, we'll have to figure out something there. Either maybe do it on Saturday or maybe do a later stream on Fridays. Not quite sure yet. We'll figure something out. But I don't have my schedule quite yet. So when I get the schedule, I can work out a better schedule for our stream. So I'll get it on Monday. So if you guys want to check in probably Monday night or Tuesday on the actual schedule, I'll have it probably adjusted then. I do want to continue streaming. I think it'd be kind of fun, but so I have to work. You know, I want to work around my new job and everything like that. So while it's great to have a new job, it's gotta kind of prioritize a few things. And so hopefully I continue streaming. If it does get to a case where I can only stream 2 days a week, it'll probably be on Tuesdays and Thursdays. But we'll see how that goes next. So, I finally have the game loaded up, so let's go ahead and pop into it. Also, the reason I'm going to have a few issues today, I have a feeling. Not because I want them to have issues, but I actually had to take apart my computer this weekend, and when I did that, I was actually cleaning it out. So the reason I cleaned it out is it was having issues. If you were here on Friday, you remember it actually, I don't know what happened. I don't know if it was, I have a feeling it was probably heat, if I had to guess. But I could be wrong about that. But I think I finally got it, to work properly. So, hopefully it won't overheat again. You know, fingers crossed. That is the hope. But yeah, I had to clean a lot of dust, stuff like that out. But because of that, I had to unplug everything, start everything back up. So it may have a few things just a little bit off with it. I'm also playing around a little bit with the chat just above my camera here, just so you guys want to have a little bit more chat on there. Just you guys can see that as well. Let's see here. I'm trying to think what other. I'm just trying to figure it out. That's all. Well, I think that might work a little bit better. I'm going to show 10 messages. I'm still kind of new at this. I mean, especially stuff like this. So I'm trying some different things out just to make it a little bit different here. It's a little hard to read on there, but I think that will be a little bit better for you guys. So you guys can see, you can see yourself chatting, see what other people are thinking about the park as well as other games. So that should be fixed now. But back in Planet Coaster here. Now, if you were not here with us on our last Tuesday, or if you happen to fall asleep like some people, it does happen. We actually did a couple things here. We actually did work on the employee cafeteria a little bit. Now, fair enough, it is not a whole lot. It is just kind of the interior here. I kind of want to give you the idea of it from the outside, since we're not going to probably see that very often. However, what I did do actually a lot of is actually back here in this patio area. Now, this would be quite, this would just be for employees, but I quite like how it looks. I think it serves its purpose pretty well. We do have 2 entrances from here and over here. Got some nice seating area here. We did actually do this employee patch over here as well. Turn the camera just a little bit. This is kind of based on a real life thing that they used to do at Kings Island. They actually had a patch of grass or a patch of dirt like this, and they would use this as to grow different, different items. Usually with pumpkins. I don't know why they like pumpkins, so I did add a few pumpkin in there, a few sunflower seeds, and a tree. So I think this looks kind of nice. This will be a little more maintained, but this would just be for kind of the employee garden area. And we did work on down here a little bit. I did do a little more on this backstage area. We actually built this dumpster, or trash compactor, last stream or 2 streams ago. I don't remember it right now. But yeah, this is something so that they can actually dump trash into the dumpster here and then compact it. As well as just some other bits and bobs around here, and some trash cans and things like that. The other thing though is if you were here for our iRacing stream, I did about 4 races, took about 2 hours, and the last 45 minutes or so we actually went into Planet Coaster and actually finished up this patio a little bit. Now we didn't do a lot of this in the last stream, but if you weren't here for the kind of the end bit of the iRacing stream, you didn't see some of this. It was mostly just this bench work. We did add a couple trees in here, and this actually, forgot about this, we actually did add this little cart in here. Makes it look really nice. I mean, at least I think. We'll probably add another one of those in here somewhere. I'm not 100% sure yet. But that's kind of where I want, kind of the idea I want. Just kind of small carts that they could sell just drinks and some snacks or whatever, and some ice cream. We also did this retaining wall along here that I think looks really nice. Just kind of helps seal off this concrete pad from the terrain work over here. So today, what I really want to do is finish up this area. Now, because this whole area here, from this path to over to the discus and shockwave here, this would have all been built in the 1980s, or in the case of the pub, probably a little bit later, but it would have been revamped from something else. So that's kind of the idea. So I want to tidy up things like back here. I want to tidy up the fence line here. I want to go ahead and maybe finish the curbing. There's some curbing along here I wanted to finish up. Essentially, we're just doing really small tasks just to kind of help tie this area together and call it completed for now. If we get any more ideas, we can always come back later. But for now, I want to at least tidy this up. So I want to start with this one, just to tidy up the concrete pads back here so that they won't stick through the fence. So yeah, this one's gonna be a little bit, excuse me, a little bit easier job, but we just gotta get it done really quick. Another thing I want to try to get done today is I also want to add in a few custom signs to the rides, because things like Shockwave and stuff like that would have a custom sign for it, and I just don't have one. So I do want to try to create a Shockwave sign. How well it's going to go, I'm not sure yet, but we're going to try it. And I have an idea in my head of how I want to do it. So we'll kind of go with that as to start out with, but we'll see. I don't know quite how that's going to go yet, but we'll get it done. So as you can see here, some of these concrete pads, or some of the concrete pad is a little uneven, which, I get that, like with the terrain work how it is, it probably wouldn't be ideal to have this, especially where the ride's at. So I'm kind of fixing that up a little bit. So I don't mind this having this little bit of a seam over here, because 9 times out of 10 with a ride like this, you would never be over there. You would enter and exit from the front. Even if maintenance workers would be back here, they wouldn't be in this very far corner over here. So I'm okay with that. It kind of looks like there's a seam there, like they, maybe there's something to get busted up or something like that. Same with over here. Now this one I might have to do a little bit more work on, just because it is right in the middle of a path. So, well, maybe have to see if I can maybe fix that really quick. Something like that. I think that looks a little bit better, at least, and there's just a little bit of a step down, so not too overly concerned about that. But let's get the rest of this fixed up here. We can maybe, what I'll do is just kind of cut this angle in half and then slide it over. We go and mute there. I didn't want to have you guys go through the torture that is a sneeze on camera. But yeah, no. So I'm hoping to finish up the section here. We've actually, you know, from when we actually started streaming this till now, or when I did at least, I always say we. I don't know why I say we a lot, but you know, it's, you guys are just as important as me doing this. I mean, when I first started streaming, it was kind of odd because I didn't think I was having anybody to watch. I mean, fair enough, there actually was somebody, I don't remember his name now. He's like one of my first subscribers. That when I was playing when I was playing Roller Coaster Tycoon, he was like, "Hey, just want to let you know I'm here. I'm just not chatting too much." I'm like, "That's awesome." But yeah, you guys do a lot. Well, it's encouraging to see when people, you know, pop in like this and, you know, say, "Hey, this is really cool. I like what you're doing." Because a lot of people, what they'll do is they'll put my stream on and then just kind of have it in the background, and that's what I do with streamers too. So I totally get that. And they'll just throw it on, you know, like to me, I throw it on my second screen and say, "Hey, you know, I'll be gaming on this screen, and then my second screen I'll watch a stream or I'll watch a video or whatever." And so yeah, I totally get that mentality of doing that. So yeah, it's really cool. I think we're with the new follower today. I believe I am up to 37 subscribers or followers. I think it's followers. Subscribers is a different thing, but even then, it's neat. We're actually only need like 13 more to get to that affiliate goal, so that'd be cool to see. All right, so we got that patio fixed up. It's a little bit better now. We can kind of come down through here. I wanted to fix up a few of these areas like this one, just to try to fix this up a little bit. Maybe even fix the curb a little bit more. You know what? I think what we're going to do, oh, that's not what I wanted to do. I want to rotate this one. Just kind of line it up a little bit better with this path here, or this edge here, and then kind of continue that around like so. Like that. And then let's see if we can maybe raise this curb up just a little bit. I don't know, it's because it's sunk into the ground quite a bit, so we do have a little bit of leeway with it. I think that'll work. Let me go ahead and I'm going to highlight all of this, just so that we can kind of keep it on an even keel here. Yeah, I think that works out pretty well. And so let's go ahead and continue that on. Let's take a look here, because it really kind of steps down there right at that pole, which technically it would make sense because that's an emergency exit for the ride. So yeah, I think other than that, I think it looks pretty good. We do need to figure out what to do with it down here, just because it does kind of abruptly end. There's a little bit of a grass part here. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to extend the path down this way and do something like this. Do a little more. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to rotate a next little step right now. I'm going to rotate a piece right here, and then whatever that comes out, like where the edge on the left hand side there comes out to be, is where we're going to end the path going out. So that'll work out the best way. Try not to get it to Z fight, because that would be a bit of a pain in the butt. There we go. And then let's move one down and something like this. Now hopefully I can not really. All right, well, it's kind of hoping to tuck it a little bit more underneath the deck here. So what I'm gonna have to do probably then is go back to the temple pieces and then try to find one that's kind of that size. No, because this isn't the temple piece, this is the pavement piece. But I think we can still use the temple pieces. We'll just have to be kind of, you know, a little bit more diligent on how we use these, because these will be, you know, kind of stick out a little bit more than the concrete pieces will. That's a 2x2. 2x2 might work a little bit better in here. So let's place that down. Let's go ahead and grab this color here. And we'll make this that color. There we go. I think that'll work out just fine there. You'll kind of, it'll be a little bit different texture, I guess. But if we're just flying around, we won't really notice it. So I'm okay with it. And slide that over. Rotate that just a little bit more. Slide that in there and in there. There we go. I think that looks pretty good, and I think that's a good end to that place. You're right at the end of the concrete slab here. I think that works out pretty well. And, you know, looking down here, it kind of makes a little more sense, I guess. You know, I really do like how this has turned out so far. And it does make, you know, adding all these rods over here and the concrete in front of here and things like that kind of does put Thunder Falls out of place a little bit. But at the same time, I have a feeling this is exactly what they would do. Like maybe where the concrete pad is was just originally just like a grassy area, but then they're like, oh, we could throw a few rides in there, and then they did, and then they had no regards on what the theming of Thunder Falls was. They spent, you know, they put all that money into it, and well, they kind of messed it up. So yeah, I think it's hilarious. But and I'm trying to think, is there anything else we want to work? You're kind of going through everything too. Is like, is there anything I want to add over here? Technically, we do need the photos over here too, but I have to do those in paint.net, so I'll do those a little later. But I think this store is pretty well done. I don't really see much else we would want to do over here. Yeah, I think that'll be just fine. Let's see here. Moving back over here, we should have a sign for this. Let's try to use just an in-game sign here. This. I think I'm just going to call this the Farmhouse Mercantile, if I can spell mercantile. That's another big thing. I'm just trying to find a sign that would make sense. Because they need to be big enough to where we can, you know, write some bigger words on it, things like that. Put that one there. I might do something actually kind of with these. Actually make it look like a firehouse a little bit more. And do like engine 41 and engine 42 over here. Just so it looks like this actually is a firehouse of some description. And then I'll do something like that. And we'll sink it down. Oh, can't sink it down any more than that. All right. I do want to change the text on it. Just to see if maybe there's something a little bit more. Not. There we go. I think Rancher will work the best. There we go. We'll go to Rancher. Make it just white so you can see it a little bit better against the brick there. Alrighty, then we'll go ahead and sink this one into the. Alright, somehow we've gotten two signs here. Let's go ahead and delete one of those. And slide that into there. Alrighty, that looked pretty good. And then we're going to do this as Firehouse Mercantile. I have to figure out how to spell mercantile real quick. Hold on. Because I have no idea. Let's Google it. Mercantile. Alright, so we're going to have to do this in two lines, which is just fine. So this will be the firehouse, and we'll leave it as maybe a bright yellow. And we'll do it in white. Maybe I can off white there. There we go. And we will have to duplicate this because mercantile might be its own sign. But it is MER. Oh, I've hit buttons that I didn't want to hit. MERCANTILE. There we go. And maybe do this also in Rancher? Maybe? Nah, maybe not. Don't like racing. I mean, I like racing, don't get me wrong. But, I'm just trying to think, what would kind of make this sense here? Maybe that one. I think that might be the best one we have, so. Alright, well, let's move these. There, and then we'll go ahead and center it. And there we go. I think that looks pretty good. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not ideal. Like, it's not perfect, but it works. We have a sign there now. If we want to come back later, we can always make another sign or somebody else. Like, if one of you guys want, if you guys are watching this, you're like, hey, I want to make a Firehouse Mercantile sign, go for it. And put it up on Theme Maker's Toolkit, and just, either you'll let me know in the chat or whatever. I'd be more than happy to put it in the mark. But there is that. I kind of want to do something else to fill this area up. I don't know quite yet, but I'll think of something here. There is a part of the roof that sticks out there. We need to fix that. This is the kind of stuff I need to kind of go, go through and, find and, make sure that it's, correct. Because, if I ever decide one day, I'm like, you know what, I'm going to release the park, whatever, so you guys can see what it is kind of firsthand. I want to make sure it's as perfect as it can be. Let me double check, make sure this isn't poking out the front here. There it goes. And there we go. Alright. So there is that. I'm kind of working my way here. We need to do something with this area. As to what, I'm not sure. Because while the grass looks nice, I don't want it to, I don't like having big patches of grass like this. When this area probably would be tiled off or concrete or something like that. So let's go back to those temple pieces. We'll plonk one of those down here. Or you know what? There actually was I saw the other day, or I saw this morning actually, that on the Theme Maker's Toolkit they actually had a cobblestone. You know what? Let's pause for a second here. There was actually something on the workshop that actually was a cobblestone path that they actually highlighted. And that looked really interesting. So I want to see if I can maybe find that really quick. Theme Maker's Toolkit. We'll actually go to the most recent one, because I think it was a relatively recent one. Now, with my luck, I won't be able to find what I'm looking for. But then I'll find stuff that I really like and stuff like that. It's usually how that works. Is that I'll find stuff that I really don't want or need, but I'll find stuff that I might be able to use later. It looks like I've looked at the rest of this. These tiled walls, though, let's see if maybe we can use those somewhere. See how they look in game. And then I want to see if I can find cobblestone. That's actually the one I'm thinking of. Alright. So, hopefully, Theme Maker's Toolkit items are in here. Usually they are, when I download stuff like this. See, cobble. Maybe not. They might take a minute for it to show up. But let me see here, so maybe I can... Maybe it's trying... Yeah, it looks like it's trying to download stuff now, so... Hopefully that'll just take a moment, and we'll be back in here. Let's see. PB... Uh-oh, the game just locked up. That's no good. It can also very well be looking or installing the new thing, so I'm not too alarmed with it, but so So I got the game back. Hold on. Let's see here. CO. Nothing yet. Alright, well, that's not ideal. One's called right. Nope, that's not it. Alright, well, we might have to look at that a little later. Looks like it's still trying to download some stuff, so... For some reason, it is still trying to download another game. I don't know why it's doing that. Let's go ahead and pause. Let me see. Let me just double check, make sure there's not in here. Because if they're in here, we could use them. But if not, we'll have to try to find a different solution. Not seeing them so far. Oh yeah, you can see some metal turnstiles and some drinking fountains. Those might be kind of cool to add somewhere. But oh, hold on, there's part of what I got. Oh, well, for some reason, all right. Don't quite think that will work there, but to get that wall there. So one of the walls is in here. Why in the world did like nothing else load? Let's see here. Tile. Yeah, for some reason it actually did bring in one of them. Why didn't it bring the rest of them in? I'm not sure. Let me try one more time here. Oh, look at that. There we go. Alright, so this says right... this is the one I'm thinking of. This is the one that was shown the other day. Let's see if there's anyone that's a little bit closer to this one right here. That one's actually pretty close. Unfortunately, it does not have anything that's recolorable. But we can at least, you know, we can actually try some other ones. Let's see. This is a game of millimeters, unfortunately, and stuff like this. And then... it's a grid piece. I'm like, why in the world is it not working? But it's a grid piece. That makes sense. But we can still use it. It's no big deal. We just have to be a little more creative on how we move it and things like that. It doesn't look like we can recolor it at all, which kind of stinks. But if, you know... see here. Yeah, there's no way to recolor it up here, so we'll have to leave it like that, but I think that's better, unless we can find, like, maybe a little later on, we can find something a little bit different. As I look at it more, I kind of want to look at the other one real quick. I know I'm a little bit wishy-washy on how this works, but I want to make sure I get this, you know, looking proper. Or maybe we do something like this, and we kind of say that, yeah, maybe at one time, that this was maybe like a planter or something like that, but I don't know if this is going to work because... oh, maybe, hold on, that might work a little bit better there. Go. Maybe we just say that, hey, for some reason that this was a planter at one time, but when they got rid of the planter, they just added a bunch of old bricks in there, things like that, so... I don't know, we might do something like that, because unfortunately I don't think any of these are recolorable. This one says it's recolorable. Is that actually true? It does not seem to be. Well, maybe at least the texture around the rock, maybe, but yeah, I don't think that one's as good, I guess. But yeah, I think I'll leave it. You know what? I'm going to try this one, because, you know, why not? We have time. It's kind of one of the things. I didn't really have, you know, this was what I wanted the stream to be. I wanted a little bit more, you know, all over the place. You know, it's like I'm working this a little bit, then we'll, you know, move on to the next one. I want to just kind of be quick, you know, quick projects we could wrap up really quick. or small projects that we can wrap up really quick. Really, kind of the idea at least. Come on, game. This game's gonna mock me until I get it done. You know what? I'm leaving it there. I'll figure something out a little bit later, but for now, that'll work. I don't think we wanted to add any more back here. We might come back through one day and redo all this and do an actual interior for this place. But I think for now, the outside of it works, like how the bar looks and things like that. So I'm not too awful concerned. I might need to put. You know what we need to do though? We need to put at least 1 or 2 bartenders back there because even though that. Even though they wouldn't actually work per se. You know what? That will do me just fine here. You move this guy. Maybe he's talking to people over here. We'll do some. We'll say that's what he's doing. Standing. Now he should just, when he lands, just stand there. He looks thrilled. All right, we'll need one more person because I mean it's, bars be it's hard to make a bar like that by yourself. I would say I've never done it myself, so I want to try see if maybe. I'm hoping that guy walks this way, and he did. All right, well, that worked well. Let's try him right here. See if we can maybe get one to face maybe towards us. See if we can get to work here. There we go. That works perfectly. Move this person. Move them to here. And we will make them standing roster. Well, did that go standing? It did. Cool. Go ahead and place them back there. There we go. That looks better. But now we need to make them a little bit more, obvious, I guess. With, I mean, fair enough, they're wearing park uniforms, things like that. But I do like the tan shorts. But I do want to change up their outfits. I'm thinking like a nice dark green, something like that. Maybe a little bit darker. You know what, maybe. I know when I used to work at Kings Island, we actually had, the bartenders had different uniforms. But one of them was like a dark neon green like that. And I think that's what we're going to do. This is for like the water park though. But I think that'll, I think that works pretty well. You also remember this is supposed to be an Irish pub, Irish, green and stuff like that. So I think that'll work. Maybe give them black pants maybe. And I think their shoes I'll keep as whatever. I'll maybe do this one like an off-white because, well, you know what? They're in food service, so they probably are all going to be black. But we're going to lighten it up just a little bit, so they can have a little bit of differentiation in them. I mean, if you ever work in food service, 9 times out of 10 your shoes are going to be black. That's just with the slip-resistant shoes you have to wear. That's usually what they have to. It's usually the only color they come in. So. It's probably changed in the past couple of years, but, maybe that's just me. But there we go. We got our bartenders in and looking pretty good. As they all have radios on them. I don't know why that is, but all right. Yeah, there we go. We should. It looks pretty good. For what we have there, I think it looks pretty good myself here. Let's go ahead and pause it again just so that a game doesn't, have a heart attack on us. Hopefully with, me cleaning it out, it won't, but, it seems to be running smoother, though, after I've done that thorough cleaning here. This area is a bit of a conundrum to me, because I don't know what it's like. We should probably curb the path here. I have no problem with that. Maybe even curb the queue line here. But other than that, I really don't know what to put in here. I might just make that a dirt, or like just a mulched-in area. That might just be what it becomes. I really don't have to say. That's how little I want. I have put into thought in here. I don't know, because it's an odd area. We can put a. You know what we can do? And getting a drink of tea is not the idea. I'm going to go grab our cart down here. This one right here. We're going to duplicate it. And yes, I do have power lines to it because I did think of that last time. I'm going to put another one down here. And I'm going to redo the power line, of course, but that's okay. I'm going to put it right about there and sink it into the ground. Now, you may be thinking to yourself, this looks a little odd, and you'd be correct. Why in the world did I put a cart in the middle of the grass area here? And I'm not going to. What I want to do is, this is very, this is an idea that there's a couple carts at Kings Island that does this. I'm going to duplicate this, and I'm going to move it over here. But there's a couple carts that are just kind of in the middle of nowhere. Well, I say in the middle of nowhere. Really, they are just kind of placed down kind of differently, I guess. We'll do something like this. So yes, I want to curb the path here. I'll just make it look a little bit nicer. But I do want to add in just a little bit. We'll make this entrance, we'll make this side the entrance. And then we will come back around here. You know what? I'm going to need to make this, do that, so I get a nice crisp edge on the back here. I want to make this like that. And so essentially what it is, essentially it looks like they cut out, or really just put a piece of concrete down in the middle of a grass area like this, and then they put a cart on it. And really that's all they are. And, you know, from some, you know, in some ways that makes kind of sense. You know, you actually have a nice drink place over here. And fair enough, we do have stuff in the pub that would go. But this would be something like Dippin' Dots. They do quite a bit of stuff like this around here, which, number one, I'm surprised we haven't seen a Dippin' Dots cart in Planet Coaster yet. I mean, people have made carts like this, and they call them that. Same with the ice cream, kind of the ice cream shop kind of thing, but, or not the ice cream shop, the Dippin' Dots, stuff like that. They do small carts like that, but, you know, they really don't work or anything like that, which, you know, kind of stinks. But I'm kind of surprised no one's made a Theme Maker's Toolkit of that. Same with, there's a couple things that I'm kind of surprised that are not on Theme Maker's Toolkit yet. Things like the coast or the ride vehicles, like just that you can just place down. Kind of surprised I haven't seen those yet. Surprised we haven't seen animatronic staff yet, so I can just place a, you know, an animatronic staff member down here. I'm really surprised I haven't seen one of those yet. But who knows? Maybe somebody's trying that. Maybe they're having issues. I don't know. So, but we're not having any issues today, at least. At least not so far. Well, besides the technical, we had a few technical issues, I guess you could say. So, but hopefully those won't affect us too badly here. Anyways, we're moving on. We're trying to get this one. Just make a simple concreted area here. If I can get this to align, like we'll be able to. But we'll make this like a newer concrete, so we make it a little bit lighter gray. Sink it into the ground here. And rotate, oop, angle snap back off. Rotate this into place here. And like that. And slide that over. Can we get this to work is a bigger thing. It looks like we will be able to. And there we go. We got our little cutout cart there. And then we'll curve the rest of it. I think it'll make it look a little bit better once we get all the curb and stuff like that in. But I do want to edit the wire that goes out to here. This actually will probably go out the back of it. Let's see here if I can get the other cable here. So there's another cable that is, there it is. So let's move this. Let's go ahead and rotate this around. We'll put it along the fence here, because that's probably where it would run. I wouldn't want it to go across the path. just because, you know, we don't want people to trip on it, things like that. So if I do something like this, though, this last cable here, we'll need to rotate down just, or rotate this way just a little bit, and over. Yeah, there we go. I think that looks pretty good. Okay, get the idea of, you know, yes, we do have a cable, you know, these are going to be stub my toe. That was not ideal. But you got to get the idea that this is plugged in, it's got power to it. Walk. I'm looking for the tread plate. Here's what I'm looking for. Tactile path, or tactile path panel. Why you would ever call that, I have no idea, but that's what people called it. And yes, they do use these quite a bit, especially in carts like this. Do something like that. Alright, there we go. I'll put one more behind here, because usually they would have more than one, especially if you're walking here. Trust me, these things aren't the easiest to walk on, but if you're standing here all day, they're actually not too bad, because they do kind of cushion your feet just a little bit. At least we gave them an umbrella, because even some of the carts I worked on, they didn't have umbrellas. You were just out in the middle of the sun roasting. Yeah, I think something like that, I think, works pretty well. I think that'll work. I don't mind the sign being in the middle of the path. Kind of makes it, you know, adds a little more color to the path here and things like that. So, but what I do want to do is I might add all this curbing to the to a group here. Edit that, and we're going to go ahead and rotate this around like so. And like that. Move this along to here. Rotate this like so. You know what? We can actually make this a little bit smaller and actually raise this up just a little bit. I gotta find the right. I think it's wood. Is it beam? I want. Hold on, if I can find it real quick. No, it's towards the bottom of this. I just don't remember what it's called. Yeah, wooden pillar. I thought I typed that in. Alright, maybe not. Alright, well, if not, we got it now. So let's go ahead and rotate this down into it. Because I do want a little bit more of a lip on this one. Just to kind of let people know that you probably shouldn't walk on here. And that, and also kind of helps line up the path a little bit better down here. And kind of, I guess, gives the idea that this is a bit of an incline, I guess. I didn't really notice myself, but it looks like it might be a bit of an incline. Which is fine. Like, stuff like this, it gives it a little more of a challenge, and it gives you the idea that, yeah, this park is not 100% flat, which none of them are. Which is good, because then it gives us a little more challenge, too, to see how in the world we're going to actually, you know, do certain things in here, so do something like a little bit more, a little bit something like that. And then looks like we can kind of maybe rotate this down just a tiny bit. Something like that. Bring that across to there. And you know what? We can probably actually do that, and then I can bring a little piece of concrete there, and then we can continue on out this way and around the bumper cars. I think I'm only the 2 meter for this one, just because I don't think the 4 meter would have fit in here, because even the 2 meters even has some issue, or is almost too big. we're going to do something like that. Slide that piece on down to there. And like that. And then we get back to the 4 meter here. And let's rotate this around. Game saving again. There we go. And even I've noticed that the game saves are a little bit quicker now. Maybe that's just me thinking that. Once again, I could be all just, you know, it could be all just coincidence that when I blew my, or when I cleaned my computer out, my computer had been running better. It makes sense. Because the problem is with where I have my computer at is in our basement, but it's actually maybe 6 foot from our washer and dryer, and I got a feeling that a lot of the dust and all that is actually like dryer lint that gets stuck in my computer, which kind of sucks. Because that's what it's what it looked like, and it kind of felt like that when I pulled it out. So then I think it's what's, you know, having a few issues with my computer. So hopefully it's fixed now. You know, don't, at least for a while until it gets built back up there, because you know, that's how kind of dust works. Let's just do this straight across like that. I think we won't, you know, curve that area, but yeah, there we go. I think that looks pretty good. I think we need to get some coconut pieces out now. Or you know what? Let me look on the Theme Maker's Toolkit one more time, because if I'm not mistaken, somebody either had mentioned this or something, but somebody said there was actually like pieces of mulch out there on the Maker's Toolkit. I'm like, all right, we got to take a look at this real quick. Theme or mulch. And there sure is. There actually is like tiny mulch squares and stuff like that. All right, well, looks like I need to snag some of this up. Hopefully, fingers crossed. It's like Hydro. Hydro makes a lot of good stuff, I've noticed on here. Things like, there's propane tanks here. I want to snatch those up too. This is all pretty impressive. While those load, I'm going to pop over here and see if they... okay, so he actually made like in our park, he actually made the... oh, those are... hold on, we got to add those in too, maybe. He actually added the Barneys that we use for our dumpster. He's made some of the card readers. He's made some of the tables we've used. Things like that. That's pretty cool. And he makes a lot of the signs around here. If you saw, we did the... we had those, like, the banner signs, the kind of arched banner signs. That's all him. There's a lot of font as well, which the font looks really nice too. What's good about there and just download all this? It's a lot, but it would be really nice. Let's see here. He even has safety nets for coasters. It's pretty impressive. Okay, so he also did all the footers for the rides, so like the ride support. So I bet you he's also the one who did the supports for Arrow. That's the ones I actually use for Shockwave. Yeah, he does a lot of stuff like this, which is amazing. He also did it looks like the sun sails that we used over the bar. Let's see here. He probably also did all those beams that we've been using for both for the parking lot and for the parking lot and for the you know, other things around like the like the lines, the paths, stuff like that was pretty much all him, which is pretty impressive. This is all. I mean, this is cool. I spend hours looking through all this. Even has like small phones that you can put in your park. That is kind of crazy. All right, so enough of that. We need to go back to the park here. Hopefully the mulch is loaded in now, so we can put the mulch in here. There we go. And we can get something like this. Might be a little big for... no, it might fit just perfectly. Look at that. First try. Alright, we'll have to probably move our cables just a little bit, but that's okay. But look at this. This looks amazing. Yeah, it's that texture, I guess, that kind of does it for us. Let's see if maybe we might just be able to duplicate this, start duplicating all this. Like that. Let's get a smaller one. Start working our way down this way. He didn't do a 4x4, which is interesting. He did a 6x6, and then he goes down to a 2x2. I'm not going to complain. No more wrong, because this looks really nice. But a little odd, I guess. Because I guess a lot of Planco scale is 4x4, like the grids and stuff like that. But hey, that's okay. And I like also how he did the rounded edges to it. Like, it does, it's not, I mean, it's a square edge, but it kind of rounds off on the ends there, so that if you want to stack it up a little more or something like that, you can, or a little less, and make it look like, it's kind of how they just kind of laid it unevenly or whatever. It actually looks really nice. Alright, now we're getting to a little bit smaller here. Let's go down to the half-meter piece. Because that is what we call ludicrously insane, but amazing at the same time. So we can get right down here to like the real fine edges there. And fill in with mulch. Look at that. Well, yeah, I fill in the rest of this now, but it's starting to actually look really nice. I am happy that we took the 5 minutes or so, however long it took to download all this to actually get it in here. By the way, if you have Planet Coaster, Theme Maker Toolkit is free, so you don't have to spend another dime on it. So you can actually go in here and download all this. If you guys are kind of new to Planet Coaster, or you're coming back to Planet Coaster after a little bit, do check out Theme Maker's Toolkit, because there's a lot of things in there, like this mulch, that you wouldn't necessarily think of when you're building a park, but are very useful, especially for large areas like this. And it adds to the experience quite a bit, as well as there's things in there that are actually really useful, like the beams and stuff like that, or the coaster supports. Like in game, you can't get arrow supports unless you custom make them from shapes, and from what I hear, it's kind of a pain in the butt. I've never done it with like art shapes or anything like that. I'm not a great art shape builder, but I think for what this is, or for that, it's fantastic. So I'm trying to get all this mulch into one building here. Add, edit. I might have to go back through some of my other areas and do stuff like this, because it does. I'm actually kind of surprised how good it looks. Not that I should be surprised, but I am. Let's continue on down this way. And also, I do have a little bit of a change I want to make to one of the planters earlier that we started this area with. I want to change it up just a little bit, and I think it'll be for the better. I think it'd be kind of fun to do as well, because something a little bit different we can do with it. So, but I'll be up here in a little bit. It's like one of the things I have on my list is to redo the planter. The planter I'm talking about is the one in front of our shrimp shack, the one that we built really super early on in this stream series. So it's more of the fact that I had an idea. I was actually at Kings Island and I got the idea to do something, and so I think it'll work. We'll see. I've done this in other parks before, so it wouldn't be the first time I've done it, so we'll give it a shot over there as well. So there is that. Need to kind of finish up down here just a little bit more. Go. Mulching the rest of this. I'll probably put a few bushes and leaves and stuff like, or bushes and trees and stuff like that in here, just to kind of help facilitate or help to make it a little bit more, well, look a little more like a flower bed or something like that, or just kind of a nice covering. We don't just have this mulch patch here, because I mean, all we're doing then is replacing the grass with mulch, which is a little bit better, but still not ideal. Got one little spot over here still. And open this down just a little bit more. That should work. And there we go. We got a nice mulch patch here. I think I want to edit this back one just a little bit, just to kind of pull it back from the curbing here. There we go. That looks better. Yeah, now we've replaced all that dirt with some nice mulch. It looks like we actually did something. All right. So, just want to add a few trees in here. Nothing too crazy. Maybe something like this. These ash trees. Let's see if we go over here to nature. I'm just kind of curious what kind of trees I had over there. Let's go to ash. Do I not? Do I have something? I must have something on. Like, oh, I'm in Theme Maker's Toolkit. That's why I'm not in scenery. I figured these ash trees would look pretty well here. I'll only do like maybe one or two, something like maybe that, just to kind of help break up the monotony of all this concrete and stuff like that. You know what we could actually do too? I want to actually add these trees to the mulch here. I want to actually mound the mulch up just a little bit. I noticed this when I was at Kings Island. They kind of, when they did the mulching and stuff like that, they actually kind of raise it up just a little bit. Kind of like that. And then I want to come back in here. The Maker's Toolkit. We'll go back to the mulch here. We'll go 2x2 here. You know what, we probably need to do a little bit more than just 2x2, but something like... But I noticed when they did their mulching, they actually raised up some of the areas a little bit, kind of like this, where the trees were. I don't know why they would have done that, but it made it look really nice. I guess that's probably the reason why they did it. But just kind of do something like this, and then put the tree up a little bit more. Kind of get that a little more, spread out effect like that. I don't know. I think it makes it look a little bit different. I think it looks kind of nice like that too. We can also do some more mounding along here. Maybe even lower it down just a little bit so it's not as big of a mound over here. Maybe it looks like the tree kind of, its roots are spreading out this way, and maybe do a little bit more over here as well. Maybe even rotate it just a little bit so that it looks like it's kind of, it was spread unevenly, but that'll look just fine like that. Yeah, I think that looks pretty good. And I'll do a little bit more over here as well. Probably won't do as big of a mulch square. Maybe I'll do like a 2x2. Do something like this. I think it looks a little bit nicer to kind of make it look like the mulch would not spread evenly, which, let's be fair, it probably wouldn't be. Not because the landscaping is lazy or anything like that. It just, you know, once you do stuff like this, you have this whole area here, and unless you step back quite a bit, you would have no idea if you spread it evenly or not. So, you know, I figured, you know, it might be pretty neat to do something like, oh, that's probably not what I wanted to do there. Just gonna slide this over and raise it up a little bit, and I'm gonna just kind of, you know, I'll tilt it downward and level it like that. Kind of like that. I think that'll work. It's not as big, and I think it still works. I want to add a few bushes in here, you know, around here. I think it'll work out a little bit better. I don't want anything too big, though. I mean, to me, this area would be a little more maintained than, you know, just, you know, yeah. I'm trying to get the words. So, I think this will be a little more maintained, just kind of than just a common area wood or a common flower bed wood. So I think, you know, maybe these really well trimmed bushes may not be, you know, maybe what they put in here, something like that. Do a few back here as well. We're also using the technique of spinning them and then, or duplicating them, spinning them, and keeping them in the same place, as well as raising and lowering them. I think it does add something to it. It makes them look a little bit more bushier, I think, and it does get a little bit different shapes and stuff like that. So use that a little more over here. Because number one, even if you trim these bushes all exactly the same, they're not going to grow all the same. They're going to have different levels of moisture and things like that in them. So yeah, you know, these bushes would grow quite a bit differently than, you know, each other. Even if you tried your hardest to try to get it to grow the same, it still would be a little bit different than from each bush. So you can even kind of tell between these two bushes. You can tell this one's a little bit different than this one, because this one only has the one in it. So let's actually move this one towards the back just a little bit more here and sink it down. And then I'm going to duplicate that one and raise it up just a little bit so that it does have a little bit more of a depth to it. But I think so far this actually looks pretty good. It's a little sparse, and that's I don't know if that's really what I'm going for, but I kind of want to make sure that it looks like we put these plants here because we had nothing else to put here. And I guess that's kind of the idea, I guess. Even move that one off to the side a little bit to make it look a little bit different than the other ones would be otherwise. Make that one, just leave that one as a real small bush there. I want one more up here. Like that. I think that makes that look a lot better. I actually covered it up. I mean, no wrong. It's still a mulch patch, and it's never going to be not a mulch. I mean, unless we tore out a lot of this and redid a lot of it, but this is, you know, it's still a mulch patch, but it looks a lot nicer. Like somewhere people can actually, you know, still somewhat enjoy it, even though it's just, you know, a pile of mulch. And so, yeah, I think that looks pretty good. I think the cart there actually looks really nice, especially with that background. It looks really good. I mean, it's getting to the point where I can actually, walk through an area and it actually looks good from all angles. Like, usually, like, if we're working over here on the go-karts and you see all this in the background, it's like, that doesn't really look really great. But if we're actually in the middle of the plazas here, like right down through here, it looks amazing now. You can walk along here, you see all the bushes and the trees and everything like that. You turn the corner, and all of a sudden you're coming out to this plaza here, which, by the way, we're going to do a walkthrough towards the end of the park, so you guys can see everything that I've done in here and see how the progress is going. But yeah, I think this looks really good, especially with the card here. I think really did add a little bit of something to it that kind of helps boost it a little bit more. Now, as I'm flying through here, I'm trying to figure out what other things we can do. Oh, we need to get rid of these signs here. If I'm not mistaken, I was kind of demonstrating what the signs all meant. So there is all that taken care of. The gate, everything. I think this area looks pretty good by itself. I think we did a pretty good job. I don't think I actually showed this on camera, how I built all this, but I think that looks pretty good. Maybe over here, we can actually add some more mulch into this area. This is one of the areas I did want to kind of work on. This is Shockwave. This is one I didn't build on camera. This is actually one of the kind of the big draw to this area. This is a aero looping coaster that was based on the ride called the Vortex, which was at Kings Island. That was actually torn down this year, unfortunately. It was actually torn down at the end of last year, but I actually went there, and it is odd to see the place now because it is just, it's a valley. Essentially, it was built over a valley. It is just a valley now, which is really super odd. But I do have a couple pictures of the track. There is a couple pieces of track that they have in the back there. I don't know if they're saving that for something or what. Kind of cool to see. But most of it has been torn down by now. But this is based on that coaster. This one, I didn't completely custom support it, but a lot of these boxes right here are actually these are actually aero supports that I actually went through and supported the whole thing. For something like this, the corkscrews, things like that, I decided to let the game support those. But yeah, for the most part, I actually did box this in myself, and I'm actually kind of proud of that. There's a couple things I do want to work on over here. This grass panel here, I'm okay with keeping. I got the curbing there. I really don't think people would. Once again, I don't think people would go in this area, but at the same time, they very well could. So I might need to actually add a chain link fence along here just to help keep people out. I think we might be able to mulch in this area a little bit better. I don't know yet though. It is kind of, I did raise it up a little bit. I might keep that as a grass area. And then we're in a tree now. But I'm thinking I actually want to put the sign here for the actual ride. So I want to put Shockwave right here. And I want to kind of keep it. I have an idea for how I want to make the font look. So once again, I'm going to do this via art shapes. So I'm a little nervous about that because I am not the best art shape builder in the world. I'll move the sign for it over here. And I'm going to do the chain link fence really quick, and then we'll move on to the sign next. We'll have to go out to a part of the park that we haven't built yet so that I can get a flat ground to work on. Fence. And it'll just be, this will be a simple chain link fence. Nothing crazy or anything like that. If I can find the chain link fence, there it is. Let's get this. Go. Yeah, I really just kind of want to box off this area to make sure people don't accidentally, walk underneath the ride for some reason. Why they would, not really sure, but I'm guessing a few people would try it if this fence was not here. Something like that I think will work. The other thing I want to do is I actually want to add some fencing along here. I realize I never did that. There would be at least, I'm thinking maybe I might just do chain link fencing on both sides here, but I'll have to do some sort, I don't know if I should do netting or what, but probably something needs to go over that just so that if somebody's on the ride and they accidentally lose something, This is the last hairpin, so it would probably go out this way anyways. You kind of go out and this way because of momentum, things like that. It'll probably actually end up over here, but, you know, just to be safe. You know what? Let's go ahead and do the fencing because we're already on fencing. Not because I'm trying to delay on trying to build the sign, but, you know, I figure this is something else we need to get done anyway. So let's do that real quick. Something like this won't take us too long, and that's, you know, kind of the idea. So something like that. Keep it moving along this way here. We probably need to add a few trees and bushes along the inside here just to make it look a little more kind of grown into this place. Have you ever seen coasters, especially older ones? They have things like bushes and trees and stuff like that, you know, inside the ride itself, like these old coasters. But you get a newer coaster, you know, they were doing construction back there, so they've torn down pretty much all the planting, and, you know, they were still, you know, sometimes they'll replant trees there for them to grow, but a lot of times they just take a while for them to grow. So it's something that I kind of plan on doing stuff like that once we get into a newer section of the park. And I kind of plan on going back through this event. Like, once we get, like, the main park mapped out, I might go back through and build some of the newer rides, you know, in older sections of the park. You know, I might do, like, at the end of the boardwalk, I might go ahead and build shoot, what is a B&M coaster? I just can't remember what it's called. Kind of like Diamondback or Orion, Fury 325, something like that. Might do something like that over there. I don't know yet. We'll see. Yeah, kind of the idea right now is just trying to get this area done first, or trying to get the park done first. We can do smaller, or we can do other stuff like that later, and we might tear out rides like a real park would have to. And, you know, I'm okay with that. You know, it's kind of neat to see a park evolve from, you know, something like, you know, we can kind of see how the story built, stuff like that, and then we have to come back and amend the story that, you know, this ride was built in this time, and, you know, when they decided to build, you know, whatever big coaster they wanted to, they had to tear down the ride or move it or something like that. So, you know, something like that does add a little bit to a park, and that's how a real park would do things. They would have to tear out old rides to build new ones, and especially on a park like this, when their land is limited to what they can do. So, I think something like that will work pretty well for us. We'll need at least, well, I'll probably put a whole fence over here. I was only going to put like one or two pieces, but I think kind of where it's at, we probably should do a full fence. At least probably around to here. Alright, that'll work. Let's go ahead and rotate this down this way. Alright, so let's do this. And continue on like that. Back to the 4 meter now, and continue down this path here. This is stuff I did this before I actually started streaming it all. So once again, never thought I would actually show stuff like this off on a stream like this, but yeah, this is kind of the stuff I've thought of. You know, these, you know, cattle pins that aren't actually used. And these are just, I think those are maybe the temple pieces. They may just be art shapes too that I placed down, just to kind of give you an idea of that. Yes, this ride. By the way, how popular the ride is right now, we very well could actually turn all these into actual queue paths and make it make that queue line a lot longer. But I think we're okay with how it is now, because it does add a little bit to it, I think, and it does give that little story. Like, yes, this is a very popular ride still, even in a modern sense of it. Now it might get a little rougher over time because, you know, the ground, you know, coasters do a lot to the ground itself. So, you know, they have to be kind of consistent with how they check it and things like that. But it does, like, you know, if you see a coaster, especially the older ones, these things shake the ground quite a bit. And they think that's probably one of the reasons why they closed the vortex, is that it kind of just shook itself. It was kind of shaking itself apart. So, not a good idea for a coaster, let's be honest here. Alright guys, here's what I want to do. I am going to take a small break, use the restroom really quick. And so I'm going to blow my nose too, trying to get all this out of there. I'm hoping to have another hour or so afterwards. I plan on doing the sign here, do the curbing around this area here so that we can get this and make this look a little bit nicer, nice green space, and then fix this planter. That's kind of the plan for the rest of the stream here. I know this planter looks really nice, but I have a really cool idea for it. So I'll be right back, guys. Let me throw up that screen here. I'll let you guys listen to the music here. It sounds pretty good myself. I think I figured out also why. If you see here, the gold tracker says 43 right now. I have a feeling every time I accidentally, you know, if I have to replay something, it adds it to that goal. So that's why it might be a little off. So I think we're at 37 to 38 right now, somewhere around in there. So yeah, not too bad, guys. So I will be right back. So give you just a couple minutes here, and then we'll continue on with the park building. Alrighty, everybody, I am back. Hop right back into the game here. And let's keep going. So next thing we want to do is build the shockwave sign. So let's head over here, because get a nice flat piece of land here that we can work with. Pull up our scenery here. Go to art shapes. Go to flat, I believe, is where we want to go. Yeah. Here's what I'm thinking here. And this is why I wanted to rotate this around like that. All right, so I'm thinking here, I'm thinking 80s here. So I'm gonna do the actual sign in white. I'm thinking I want to do. I was kind of half tempted to use these beams here. Believe. There's a thicker beam, isn't there? There's a 0.9, 1.8, it's a 3.9 beam. But I'm trying to think. I don't think any of those would really be beneficial to us. So I think we'll have to do this the old-fashioned way and just use art shapes. So here's kind of the idea. I want to create a little bit, you know, I want to create just the, well, shockwave, one word. So pretty simple there. Then I want to actually go through and what was I going to do? And then I want to put like a lightning bolt through the whole thing. It's kind of the idea, at least. And I'll probably do that in actually 3 different colors. I want to kind of do one in yellow, and then do one like a neon pink, and then maybe like a pastel blue. Kind of get that 80s kind of vibe to it. Kind of at least the idea. I don't know if that'll work or not, but we'll see. I'm trying to make this as small as possible, but you got to remember this is not going to be. I mean, this is still a sign for the ride, so you want to make sure it's at least large enough to where, you know, if people are walking along the path, they'll realize where it's at pretty easily. Now I just want the 2 squares, please. And yes, I could probably go into Theme Maker's Toolkit and number 1, probably find a ride sign for Shockwave. Because I mean, Shockwave seems like a pretty common, and actually, or it's a common name for a ride, I would say. But also, there is a real ride called Shockwave that I didn't know about until after I built this. It's also an aero coaster, which is kind of funny. It might have been where I got the name from. I could be wrong, but let's see. We probably need. If I do this, duplicate it, rotate this. Like that. This is not gonna. Ooh, that might, though. There is our S. Here's my thing, though. I don't know how big this actually is. Let me pull up an archer just to kind of give it nope, it's not going to be in there. Let's kind of get an idea of how big this S actually is. Yeah, this sign's about as tall as a person is right now, but I think this will work. I'll show you why here. Well, yeah, I mean, fair enough. I think it'll work anyways, but I think kind of for what I'm doing here, I think I'll be just fine with it. So let's go ahead and start next letter here with the H. H, pretty straightforward to make. This will all be probably uppercase too. I think this would make more sense just to make it all uppercase. There's our H. Now for the O, I'm pretty much going to copy the S, which you'll see why here momentarily. Going to move this down to there. There we go. And to keep it kind of the same width, I'm going to just delete all that. Move this up to there. And like that. And like that. I'm going to duplicate this. And we'll continue down here. And there is our O. Next letter is going to be C. We're just going to copy this over to there. And this one's actually pretty simple. We'll just delete all that. And there is our C. Now for our K, I'm going to copy actually one of the legs of the H. Move that over to here. Copy the last two here to make our K. Do a little bit more angle on that one. And we'll move it down to probably around there. Duplicate this. Use the relative axis here. So it's a little bit easier to make these. Copy these. Rotate them about there. I'll probably will have to redo where the position is for these, these arms here, because they look a little wonky right now. Actually, I think what it is, I think this top one's a little too far out a little bit. I think we need to do more like that. We can come back through on this one. Kind of. I think so far, I think that's okay. Not ideal, but let's go back to here. We could take this from the H here to make our W. We'll just use 15 degrees here. And then we'll duplicate this. Number one, is that enough of an angle, though, is my question. Because it won't be that tall. I'm thinking about actually cutting that in half. And then we'll cut it in half, and then we'll kind of extend it just a little bit there. And then what I'm going to do is going to duplicate this. Use the world axis, rotate this 180 degrees this way. And there is our W. Actually, you know what? This does look kind of odd with that being that small. All right, hold on. Let's go ahead and we'll take the last two here, and we'll go ahead use the relative axis. Pull that up to about there. I think that might look a little bit better. And then we can go back through here, duplicate it, and rotate it around. There, I think that looks a lot better. Now for the A, I think I want to use the O as our basis here. Slide this over to here. Doesn't quite look like an A yet, but I think if I did this, if I deleted that piece here, move these two up to here. I need to actually extend the bottom out just a little bit here. And I might have to redo where the crossbar is, but that's okay. I'm thinking maybe something like that. I think this needs to move down just a tiny bit. That looks better. And across like that. Now for the V, I'm just going to copy half of the W. Move it across here. And slide that up like so. I'm going to fix, I'll fix all this in a second. I'll show you what I'm going to do. And so now we've got to do the E, which will be really simple. We'll just copy a C over, like so. And duplicate that and make it E. So there is going to be our kind of the basic shockwave side. Now let's go over here back to arch shapes. I want to get a flat piece. I want to get one of the largest ones I can. I believe it's going to be this one. Rotate it like that. I'm just going to make this a different color. I'll make it red. Why not? Because that's what's there. I'm going to slide this down here. So that's how tall, you know, that's how all the shapes, or this is where all the shapes should line up. Anything really below that should be kind of moved upwards. So let's go ahead and do that. I'll do the same on the top here. Move this up a little bit and move this up a little bit. This up a little bit. And this up just a tiny bit there. Thanks to the, and we'll move this down here so we get the last couple letters in here. You kind of see the A is still not 100% where it should be. So let's go ahead and go back through there. Slide that down to there. And slide that up to there. I think there we go. I think the V just needs a little bit of tweaking on the bottom here. Like that. And like, not like that. Like that. I'm gonna kind of come up here. I think really the first, the SHOC is okay. But the K is kind of the K on. You kind of look at here. Let's just slide that down towards, just barely touches there. Get rid of this. That looks a little bit better. The bottom of the V is a little bit wonky, but I don't really know how to fix that, so I'll leave it like that. So there is our actual sign. So let's go ahead and design the lightning bolt that's going to go through the whole thing here. And we'll make this the yellow to start out, because I think that's how I'm going to... The first, I'm going to kind of layer it up a little bit. So the first layer will be this yellow color here. And then I'm going to make this a pain in my butt. I'm going to rotate this up just a little bit. And so, well, maybe not. Hold on. I was going to, then I decided against it. It's going to be still here. I'm going to rotate it down like that. Duplicating this across here, at least for a couple of the letters. And then once we get about here, maybe I'm going to use a square piece, rotate it down just a little bit here. Should be about a 45-degree angle here. And duplicate that a little bit more, and then we'll go back to this one here. So what piece do I have? But I guess I don't actually have a... There we go. We'll just slide this back into place here. Like so, and then we'll continue this on down this way. I'm wondering if maybe I should have moved, or I should actually make the zigzag a little bit later, like between the shock and the wave. Hold on here, we can fix that. Like that. I think that makes a little more sense to me, at least. Come on, there we go. Go back through and highlight all of these. Like this. I want to raise this up just a little bit and down quite a bit. Hit OK there. Now this will be the, let's see, I want to do something like it's a little lighter for what I'm thinking here. Maybe more like a purple. Something like, I just realized that this is off just a tiny bit. And that's going to drive me a little bit bonkers. So let's go ahead and fix that really quick here. I do it for the yellow as well. There's that one. We'll do one more layer of like a pastel blue or a light blue. Once again, we'll move it down and then just slightly up. Now let's also just make the blue first. More blue than that. No, actually, right in there is about where I want it. I want it a little bit darker. Maybe not. Maybe a little brighter would work too. You know, come to think about it, should I make those the same color as the rise? So let's make this a dark blue. Like a little bit like... something like that. Maybe originally the ride was these colors, and then they repainted it a little bit. But yeah, I think this is what our sign's going to look like. So let's rotate it up on its end, like that. And there is our kind of basic shockwave sign. If you look on the back here, it looks horrendous because the curves aren't duplicated down. But what I want to do is I'm going to add a back layer to it. And you won't be able to see most of it, so I'm not too concerned about that. So, get a scenery here. Got a rectangle. Let's see if I can. That might be a little too large. That one will work. So I'm gonna make this like a faded black. Kind of give that, you know, more of a, you know, just kind of as to highlight the color a little bit better. I think that works out pretty well here. So there is that. I'm trying to think what else. We need to have some supports for it, which I do know that, but I don't know. It seems a little flat right now. I mean, I know, fair enough, that I'm gonna go through and at least the top ones, copy them back just a little bit so that it does have, it looks, you know, it kind of looks like it's a full sign like that. That looks a lot better. But what do we do? Do you think? I'm thinking maybe that. I'm thinking that maybe the back is what... Oop, that's not what I wanted to do. I'm thinking maybe the back here is what's throwing me off. Just because I think... What if we did something a little bit smaller? Something like this. Oh. That just kind of backs the colored part of it. And so... kind of the white sticks out a little bit more. I think that'll work. Kind of on the end here. And because we moved that black, now we have to kind of make this a little bit better on the old curved pieces there. So let's go ahead and pull those out, and we'll have to do one more time here. Let's get that nice shape in there. We'll go back through and we'll move the backing ones in just a little bit on the shapes itself, kind of like that. I think that looks a little bit better. I want to move the back of it down just a little bit more here. Maybe up a little bit more. I think that looks pretty good. I think for the most part, I think that looks pretty good so far. We need to get some supporting beams, so let's go ahead. I think it's something like this. Nothing too crazy. Just gonna do something like this, and we'll kind of probably do on every other letter, I would say. Probably works, so something like that. That. Probably do it actually at the kind of edge there, and then probably one on the E. Let's go ahead and rotate this down here, and let's get some supports along the back here. Because we will need, you know, this thing I would guess is probably pretty heavy. I don't know if it'd be some sort of, it had to be some sort of either metal or, I probably actually would be metal, to be honest with you. So I guess it would probably be pretty strong. So, but also I want to create just some supports along the back here like this. Let's use the world axis, slide these guys back like that. And there we go. I think I have our shockwave sign. Alright, let's go ahead and move it into place here. And if it doesn't fit, we'll have to find a different place for it, because I do like the sign, but... oh, that might fit perfectly in there. Look at that. Alright, that's pretty neat. I was kind of hesitant on it because of the colors and stuff like that, but seeing it there, I think that really does bring a lot of that in there. And I really do like how that looks. It's simple, but it's simple, but it works. And yeah, I think it works well there. Very well, people could still come up and take photos with it. You know, I do it too. Like if there's a really popular ride, like usually I have my photos taken in front of like Expedition Everest, stuff like that. Some of my favorite rides of Disney and things like that. But yeah, I think this worked pretty well. I'm also half tempted to make those art shapes, kind of bring them out, but then again, it's hard to see them from the front here. From the side, you can see them a little bit, but you know what? In the sake of being, you know, at least a little, you know, genuine with this sign, because we did spend quite a bit of time on it. Let's go ahead and fix all this. This is not as bad because I don't think there's as many, but still. Let's work off the E down here. There we go. I think that looks a lot better. And there we go. We finally got a sign for Shockwave. It looks really good. I mean, I think it's really good. There's some people out there that create some crazy signs that look amazing, but they're also like 5,000 or 6,000 pieces, and I'm not exaggerating on that. I've seen a couple that are in the thousands of pieces. But there is that. I think it looks really nice. So what else can we add around here that would help? I don't know if a fence along here would be ideal, because the building's there. I mean, maybe one along here to help keep people out, and then one along maybe here, just to help keep people out from underneath the station. That might not be the worst idea in the world. So let's go ahead and just do that really quick. We'll move on to our last project we had planned for today to help wrap up the 80s section. And I think that'll look, it'll really add something to the park, or really add something to it. Because I did actually I might have to change a few things around, and I'll explain why here in just a moment. Move that back just a little bit there. And then I'll have to rotate this down. And we'll slide it. So yeah, it looks like it's a nice, oh, I think this is actually just off the ground just a little bit, and that's why it looked a little odd. Go ahead and just duplicate this down. There we go. And we'll do another small section of fence over here. Something like that. I think that'll be just fine, just that one section there. And there we go. We have our track here. Now, we can probably go back in through and add trees and stuff like that to the actual ride itself. I'll probably do that at a later date, because I don't know how I want to do that quite yet. But I think right now the ride's secure. I think it could be operable and things like that. And we have our... I love that sign. I like, the more I look at it, I'm like, oh, man, that's amazing. All right. So, for our last... You know what? These rides over here don't have signs either. I just realized that. Whoops. Alright, well, we're not going to worry about that right now. We have about 45 minutes left of the stream, and I want to work on this area and this planter. Or I was going to work on this planter. Because I'm like, oh, this is kind of a boring little area. You know, we really don't have to worry about it. It's a good planter for what it is. But, you know, if you remember, from the original stream here, I kind of told the story of Thunder Lake. In Thunder Lake, this would be there was a big flood in like the mid-50s, and this was like the only like remaining tree around the lake. So they put a flower bed here to kind of keep it alive and keep it going, things like that. I was going to tear it out. I'm like, oh, that's, you know, I'm like, oh, you know, I wouldn't have to worry about it. But when I realized that we had that part as part of the story, I'm like, you know what? That wouldn't make any sense to me. So, what I was going to do is actually put a flower clock in there. If you don't know what a flower clock is, it's pretty simple. It's a clock that they actually use flowers to actually tell time and things like that. It's actually a neat little concept. They do it at Kings Island pretty much every year. And they also do a calendar, which is interesting too. But then I got to thinking, you know, this area is pretty big. Why don't we just put the clock over here? So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to go back over to our little building area over here. We have a nice flat ground over here. And I'm going to start making some Roman numerals. Essentially what I want to do, I want to use flowers. At least I'm going to try to use flowers to create actually Roman numerals that we can use for our flower clock. First off, I got to find some flowers that are small enough that we can use for our flower clock. That might be our winner there, and they're multicolored, so we actually can change the color on them, which I am totally fine with. So let's do this. We'll create 2 flowers. Add this to a group, and we'll continue on. I think we'll make him, I mean, we're dealing with flowers now, so maybe 3 flowers tall, or 4. I mean, if we're looking here, yeah, well, I think we're going to do 4, and then we'll do, just like that one, use the world, oh man, it's the world axis, oh, I've done this incorrectly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to delete these 3. I'm going to do this on the world axis so that if we do get some wonky rotation or whatever, because we might later on, I at least have a way to rotate the flowers in a halfway decent way. So there is going to be our first Roman numeral, the letter I. Then we will need a second one. So I think what I want to do is each kind of quarter hours. So the 1, 2, and 3 are all going to be the same color, which makes, you know, to me makes sense. And then 4, 5, and 6 will be different colors. I'm gonna move these across here. And really, I just kind of want to try this. I don't know if this is going to work or not, but we're going to give it a try. So that's going to be our biggest letter, our biggest number there. So let's go ahead and move this down to here, and then we'll make these maybe a nice purple, you know, something like that. And I don't know what the red's going to do here. Let's make this maybe a yellow, maybe a darker yellow. I think that looks pretty good. So the next, if you know your Roman numerals at all, we'll know the next letter is going to be IV, which stands for 4. We'll need a 5 as well, and a 6, which essentially is just, you know, kind of the same thing, just kind of duplicated. So there is that. Let's go ahead and copy this part, rotate this, and there's our 4. Duplicate just the V, that's our 5. We'll duplicate the 5 again, and make our 6. There we go. So now we have half the clock done. I didn't think that would take very long to do. And then we'll have to, come on game, there we go. Let's move this down just a little bit more so we can kind of get them in line here. I think 8's going to be kind of the hardest one because it's going to be the longest one. But we do need to go through here first and pick another color. Let's go with maybe... We did red first, correct? We did. Kind of red and orange. I'm trying to think what other color daisies come in. You know, an orange, maybe? You know, funny enough, we could do channel colors. Do an orange and like a dark blue. I mean, that's not natural, but hey, it's the friar flower. It'd be fine. So let's do this. That's 6, so we'll need 7. I'll have to make these a little bit smaller, but because 8's going to be massive, not. 8 is next, like that, and we'll need a 9. And I think that's going to be like this. I'm trying to think the easiest way to do a 9 will be this. Move that up duplicate the top 4. Rotate them like so. Slide them down to a X, which will be our 10. Well, if we do this, this will be our 9, but we'll need to kind of resize the X just a little bit, just so that it is a little more like the eye there. I think we'll need to move these flowers in just a little bit so it gives a little more of the X feel to it. May actually move these, and you know what? It might be easier if we did. Or I know we said we were going to move them a little bit closer together, but I think moving them apart actually might help a little bit better. Alright, so I think that'll work. So there's our 7, 8, and 9. We'll need another one here. We'll need to get another another color scheme for our flowers. That'll be our 10. Maybe we'll do a pink, and we'll do maybe a nice, like a lime green, maybe something like that. Maybe like a faded green like that. I think that'll work. So we have our X. We have our X, and we'll need 2 eyes, which we'll just snag these from here. And we'll need to grab our pink and our green there. Perfect. We'll duplicate, that's actually 12. Whoops. Alright, so let's move this. Oh, hold on. Move this down to here. Duplicate that. And we'll just cut one of the eyes off here. And there we go. There is our flower numbers. So that we have those now, so that I can kind of arrange them into the correct shapes. Now, what are we going to do for the actual clock itself? So what do I try to do? I've divided. Essentially, I'm doing a circle, and each number is, if you're evenly spaced here, each number would be, let's see here, what's 12? It's 30 degrees, so each number would be 30 degrees from each other. So let's go ahead and we'll grab the 12 first, so that'll be at the top of the clock. I don't know how big this clock's going to be, but, you know, it's probably going to be pretty big. So, essentially what I'm going to try to do, I might have to just eyeball it at first, which usually is not the best idea, especially with what I do. Let's do something like that. We'll make that a little bit narrower. Well, here's what we could also do, I guess. I even think about this. I can just actually add in kind of this. Let's do the corners first. And then, so we'll need the 1, or the 12, the 3, the 6, and the 9. Need this one here. Just drag that to there and slide this across like that. Now you can kind of see how the clock's kind of shaping up a little bit. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to plop down a circle piece so that I kind of have an idea of, you know, what I need, you know, like if I'm keeping with the circle kind of idea here. But you know what? That's actually kind of small. Let me actually go and get this thing, the rounded mulch piece here. So this is a 6x6, but that actually might, you know, help me with. I might have to use something like this to make the center of the clock. So, kind of the idea at least. All right, so let's roll on with this here. Thinking something like maybe that. let's lay all the pieces out. If we have to move a few around, we can. I mean, I haven't done this in a very long time, so it's been a little bit since I've actually made a flower clock like this. The first one I did was okay. Once again, this won't be working either, but you know, I think it also looked nice in our park. I think something like that, and then we'll go over to here. Really, this should line up with this one. Over like that. I feel this might be the most crowded part of it because of the just how big some of these numbers can get. That's where I wanted to go off of. We'll go off of this one here. Slide that to there. Actually, might want to move this one out just a little bit more. Maybe not. I might move that in. I think that'll work. I think we'll keep kind of this, you know, keep a little bit more towards the center, I guess. We'll kind of move this one in just a little bit more. And we move these in just a little bit more. Because number one, the way this is shaping up, I don't think it would have fit in that area, in that flower box that I was originally planning on doing this in. So I think really the only way we could have done this is if we actually moved it to that hillside, which is fine. Like I think this will work better on that hillside anyways. And I think we'll have to do something like that. Now, fair enough, it doesn't quite stay the same, especially up in here. But I think that kind of works. You know what we could do is actually move... Oh, that's not what I wanted. I'm going to move the four corners, so 12, 3, 6, and 9. I'm going to move those out just a little bit more, kind of like that. And so the other ones are a little bit closer, but that kind of makes a little more sense. But so yeah, there is kind of the outline of our flower clock here. So, what do we need to do now? Well, I'm thinking we need to at least make some sort of clock face here. What I'll do is, I think right in the middle here, what I'm going to do, I'm going to get a wood. I want to get, there is like a rounded wood piece that we used over on Thunder Falls quite a bit. That's what I want to use for kind of the center of this thing. And that will actually have our arms attached to it. And thinking of it, it may not be in here. It might actually be over here. Let's see if it's over here. Wood. I know it's not going to be in art shapes, but... Alright, it's not over here either. Where in the world would that be at then? Unless I'm just overlooking it massively, which also very well could be true. Alright, hold on, let's just go over to Thunder Falls real quick. We use, like, right here. This is what I'm thinking of, right here. Wooden pole. That's probably why, because I actually left a space after wood. Still don't see him. What in the... Where in the world am I just... Oh, there. I see him. Don't worry, guys. I found him. It's like, am I just losing my mind? That would be crazy. Duplicate this, and I'll show you why, because I can do this now. And once I rotate it... That should be the dead center of that clock now. It should be. But, you know, how things can go here. Alright, now I want to go ahead and duplicate this again. We'll do a 4-meter pole this time. We'll just slide it out this way and out this way. And there we go. We're going to duplicate this again. This is why 30 was kind of important now. So we now rotate this. Now it should be able to point at both the 3 and the 8. We continue this around. You can kind of see they're a little bit off, but, you know, that's okay. Still get the idea of the clock itself, though. And also, I could probably actually add more flowers into here if I really wanted to. But there is kind of the kind of how the clock would shape up to be. So technically, even if it's not pointing at one of these flowers directly, you would still see these arms here. It's like, all right, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, and so on and so forth. Kind of the idea, at least. But now, ooh, they don't have a 1 meter pole. I thought they would. That's okay though. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna duplicate that. Slide this over to here and copy it to there. Now I do have a 1 meter pole. What I'll do is just duplicate that and move this back down to 15 degrees, because now all of these should be, once again, should be 15 degrees apart if we did that properly. Or sorry, they're 30 degrees apart, but if I make one flat, if they're both flat against there, like that, it should work. Now, I want to go ahead and duplicate those. Let's use the world act. Well, you know what? If I do it, hold on. I want to redo that, please. If I actually do this, hit duplicate, put it in the center there. All right, never mind. We'll do this the old-fashioned way, which is fine. Which means I'm going to rotate these around like that. Slide this over to. Nope, that's not it. Hold on. There. Make sure these line up properly over here. And then copy these 4. Now this should allow me to do what I want it to do. And that would be, let's turn this up to 30 degrees. We go ahead and work our way around the clock face now. Make the outside perimeter. Like that. There we go. So now we have, it's not like a perfect circle, but once again, I think it works pretty well. Now, what I want to do is go back through here and duplicate this one, actually add a 2 meter pole in, and use relative axes, go into there, and then I want to duplicate one over here. So you got to think of this, kind of like this right here in the center. I was not a huge fan of it. So what I'm going to do is go back through here, delete all these. I know, shocker, we just did all that. It's, you know, this is, you know, kind of how I do things sometimes. Duplicate these, rotate these around, and so now we have our hour marks on there. So now what I'm going to do is I want to duplicate this one, rotate, bring it down to 15 degrees, and slide it up to there. I'm actually going to use a 1/2 meter one and duplicate it twice. I really want that to probably be a 1 meter like that. Or do I want to just do a 1/2 meter like that? Try. I think the 1/2 meter will work. And now that I'm looking at it, I'm thinking that actually these are too long. So, change of plans again. We'll just go ahead and use a 1/2 meter, and then we'll just duplicate it again. Kind of like that. We'll go ahead and do this on the other side as well. And then we're going to delete what we just did. Copy these 6 pieces, really. I think these are actually too far back for what I'm looking for here. Then we'll go ahead and redo this. Duplicate that, and we'll rotate it around at 30 degrees. And now, this should give us both our hour and our kind of like the half-hour marks, which I think will work out pretty well. And there we go. I think that looks like a pretty good clock. Once again, I probably could have actually made the four, like these four, a lot longer, which I still, you know, this is one of those things where it's more of preference on than anything else. And I'm looking here. Do I want to keep that kind of like that? Yeah, I think I kind of do. Alright, one more change of plans. Slide that over to there. Alright, and we'll duplicate this one more time, and there we go. I think that's going to be our final clock right there, and I think that looks a lot better. Alright, so now that we have our clock finally, we need some arms on it. We'll need, you know, so that we can tell exactly what time it is. I'm thinking we need to use, well, we don't have to, but I think we should use these. These are the posts that we usually use for, you know, just, you know, we use these in curbs a lot. And now you see here, we're on a minute and a hour hand. But what I'm going to do is, I'm going to actually make this, because I mean, we have to choose a time, because, you know, can't just go off willy-nilly and pick it, you know, and not pick a time. Kind of odd if the clock was not showing, or, you know, wasn't showing an accurate time. What I'm going to do is I am going to make this show 1 o'clock, because that's what time our stream starts, and I figured that'd be kind of a neat thing to see. Let me just make this a little bit longer here. And there we go. Or do I make it 4? Because I think, yeah, that might be a little more interesting. You know what? Let's make it a 4 o'clock. There we go. And so that is kind of the basis of our flower clock right now. So let's actually stop here. Well, not stop, but let's, you know, let's actually move it over to that hillside, so that we can kind of get an idea of how we need to shape it and things like that. Do you need to turn this down a little bit? I need to rotate this. This is not going to be fun, because this is not on any axis whatsoever. Rotate it maybe this way a little bit, and then I need to rotate it down this way a little bit. This is what I was kind of a little bit concerned about, especially with the terrain here. But I think that actually is going to work there. Now, granted, left view of the flowers are actually in the almost in the dirt, and some are actually hovering right now, so not ideal. But hang on here, if we just kind of rotate this back a little bit, sink it. Now that's going to rotate the, or it's going to cause the clock face to get buried here. All right, I think that's where we're going to have to place it. The plants are hovering just a tiny bit, so we can actually modify the land just a little bit to make up for that. That one didn't really work here. I'm just going to lightly click in a few areas here. Make sure our flowers are firmly in the ground. Kind of like this. Now, along the path here, we won't be able to do much because, you know, the path does take precedence and stuff like that. But I think that looks pretty good. Now, how do I want to surround this? I want to do like an outline of it. Same with the curbing. I do want to do the curbing still today, but got about 20 minutes left or so. I want to try to get this done. So let's go ahead. I'm trying to think how I want to do this. I'm thinking we might just use the old tried and true pillars here, because that seems to work out pretty well for the rest of the items here. I don't want the carved ones. I just want the plain ones, please. Thank you. You know what? I do need them to be angle snapped though, so that I can make sure these are on the correct angles here. Something like that. Probably bring this part into the curb itself. Something like that. And I probably will put a few bits of mulch in here as well, just to kind of help the flowers pop out a little bit better. So I think that works pretty well. Like that. Keep rotating. What we'll do, we'll probably do one on the corner like that, and we'll kind of box it in like this. I think that'll look pretty nice. It was cutting off a few of the flowers there, so let me edit this just a little bit here, so we get a little bit more distance out of this pole, and slide that one into there. That looks pretty good. We'll just slide this one down just a little bit and towards us more a little bit more. There we go. And we'll do, once again, we'll do probably 2 up. And we'll rotate this one at a 4, well, I need to bring this actually in just a little bit more like that. Kind of like an oval shape, I guess that'll work out for us. We'll have to do a little bit of work down there just so that once again the boards are not hovering, which is okay. We can fix that. That should work. This is going to look a little odd, I will be honest with you, but kind of with the boxing of it right now. But that's I guess that's how we're going to have to do it for now, which is not too bad of a deal here. So let's go ahead and kind of build this area up just a little bit so that once we do put the mulch in here, it would actually look like it would stay in here and not just fall out. Slide that down to there. And like that. So there is going to be where our clock's going to stay for now. We need to box in the rest of this here shortly. Let's go ahead and do that real quick. This will also start our curbing here as well, so kind of doing pulling double duty there, so it's pretty nice. But, with less parts we have to use, that we can use elsewhere. So there is that. Let's go ahead and do our mulching really quick while we're here. Then we'll finish it up, and then I might come back here a little bit and do a little bit more on the actual on the actual clock itself to make it look a little bit more finished, but I want to get at least most of it done so that because I want to do that little bit of a walking tour while we are still good here. Tilt this up just a little bit. Yeah, this is going to be a bit of a pain. I will understand. I understand that, but I want to get this done. This is why a lot of people prefer building on flat ground, and I don't blame them at all. But once again, though, if you want to build a realistic park, you're going to have hills and valleys and stuff like that. So, you know, while it is a bit of a pain in the butt to do stuff like this, you know, it can be, you know, well worth it to make your park look more realistic. And at the same time, though, we also got to think of, like, in mulch, like here, this would probably, a lot of this would fall downhill over time. And so we got to think about that. So we got to maybe pile this up a little bit more down here than we probably would at the top, just so that it looks like, yes, some of it's fallen down here, and we might need to come back through here. You know, well, a landscaper would have to come back through here and maybe slide some more up and put some more on the top so that it can fall down. So I'll do something like that, maybe. Once again, I am using the biggest piece of mulch I can, just because I want to make sure that I can get the most coverage for the least amount of parts. Then I can come back through here with a little bit smaller patches and come back through and get that done. Not a bad idea. So we actually can change the color of the mulch. I didn't know if we could or not, because my dad just recommended we do black mulch on it, which I think would look a little bit nicer, to kind of make it pop a lot more, especially with all the colors there. So what we're going to do is, you know what, let's go ahead and do that. You know, yeah, that, it is kind of a fade, like something like that maybe. I think that would probably be the closest we can get to black mulch, because black mulch, you know, is more like a light gray eventually. So maybe this was black mulch at one point, and then, ooh, you know what, that terrain work we did is not going to help us here. All right, let's kind of sink that back down there. Maybe do something like that. Are flowers still floating? I don't think they are. Well, there might be a couple. We can also just go back here and do this. If we can just sink the flowers down a little bit. I mean, fair enough. They probably wouldn't be 100% flat, but, you know. Maybe we come back through here and just, oop, that's not what I wanted quite. Let's do, come on. So those are highlighted now. Kind of sink those down maybe a little bit more into the ground a little bit. I should have thought about doing this before I started adding the mulch, but that's okay. And I've got that last flower there, but that's okay. Maybe even raising these up a bit. Then let's go ahead and just, while I'm thinking about it, let's go ahead and make our mulch black so that we can get that out of the way here. I do want to make it a little bit lighter so that you can still see that texture, which I think makes more sense. Something like that. There we go. I think that looks pretty good. I wish it was, you could do a really rich black, because I mean, even if you go like full black, it's still kind of that grayish color. So I think this works out for the best. I think it's just how the texturing is on that specific like patch there. So it makes, you know, it kind of stinks that we can't do the full black, but oh well, we'll make it work. We're making it work. We are making it work. That's kind of the idea, at least. That. there's that corner done. We'll get this corner down here done next. Rotate this one down just a little bit like so. Some terrain work here we can probably now get rid of. There we go. Through with the gray here, and alrighty, I think we just probably need to do a 1 by 1 over here. And that should finish off this flower bed here. There we go. I think that looks pretty good. It's not perfect, but you can, especially if you're walking up this hill here. Oh, that looks pretty good. I think we can maybe add a few more trees and flowers around here, but yeah, I think that looks pretty good. I think you can tell if you're standing like right here. You can pretty much tell what time it is, but I think that'll work. And then let's go and do the curbing really quick, and then we'll do kind of our walkthrough tour of the 80s section that we are completing today. And I think that next week we'll have to do a little more planning on how we want to start the next section off. So it might be a little more researchy on that one, but maybe a little more history on that one, but that might be kind of fun too. So if you're into that kind of stuff, you'll want to at least leave a follow so that you know when I am streaming. So that always helps. We have one more piece down here. Slide that. Oh, well, that's not what I wanted. I wanted to duplicate this part. And then we'll need the smaller ones here. Notice all this is now rotated to the left, but you know, that's, you know, maybe it's a little bit, it's an older curbing, so I think that, you know, kind of tells a little bit more of a story that way. Yes, it is older, and you know, maybe hasn't been as well taken care of as maybe the clock has. Get our smallest section here. Well, under the sun shading, please. Something like that. Move this section down just a little bit. There we go. I think that looks pretty good here. I think so far, it's not, you know, ideal, but I think it works out pretty well. Let's go ahead and head back up this way. Continue the path, or the curbing on around this way. rotate this around like so. We need to pull it down just a little bit so that it kind of follows the path a little bit better. And then let's do something like this. Move that up just a tiny bit there. We'll have to probably level this off and turn it just a little bit on this last part here. I think I'll need the smaller ones. I thought I was going to, but I was kind of hoping to get away with a little bit longer piece, but I don't think it's going to work quite there. Keep on rotating this around like that. Flatten it out just a little bit more. We'll have to keep on doing that as we get up this hill and to the top of the hill here. I think this is pretty much just a straight shot from there, so let's go ahead and from this we can probably go ahead and use our 4-meter section here to continue. I think actually I don't think that's quite level. Let's do that. And we'll slide on this way. We're almost there. We're almost at the building there. That's where I'm going to stop the curbing for now. Oh, hold on. I need to fix this just turn it just a little bit that way. And probably a 2-meter I need to duplicate this 2-meter section. Slide that into there. Actually, you know what? Let's go ahead and keep rotating it to match up the corner of the building here. There we go. So there is that curbing done, and I think that's where this part's going to end. Well, at least for now. I want to add a few trees in here still. You know, let's go ahead and do it. I got 5 minutes. I still can do kind of a quick walkthrough of the area in that time. So, go some nice trees here. Let's use some of the ones we usually don't use there because they're usually too massive to use, like this oak tree, for example. I think something like that will work. We'll go ahead and place down, I don't know, how about the sycamore? How big is the sycamore? It's massive. Let's go ahead and place it down there. Yeah, I don't want to do too many trees along. I mean, I wanted to do a couple trees. How was this oak tree? That's a little too big. That's massive. That's not really native to this area. You know, why not a Crimson King? We'll do something like this. Rotate it and kind of sink the rest of it down into the ground there. If it'll let me here. Like that. I think that looks pretty good. You know what? Let's make this tree a little bit bigger. And rotate it. Same with this sycamore here. And rotate this as well. Now, fair enough, I need to probably add a few more ground plants and maybe some bushes around the buildings and stuff like that. But I think for now, guys, I think this is where this is where we want to stop for right now. So let's just do a quick walkthrough while we have a couple of minutes here. I want to really get down low as I can to kind of give you guys an idea of how this park is. So you can see here on the right here, we have our kind of don't die fencing for Shockwave. Keep walking along down here. See a little concession stand for our nightly fireworks thing and our shrimp shack, including interior here. We do have a small interior for our things. We do have some souvenir cups, advertisements, as well as menus. These are actually things. They actually do have prices and everything. That was a fun thing to do. And then, fair enough, you want to probably come and eat here. Well, if you pop outside here, we do have our condiment bar, as well as another serving area over here as well, right next to the lake to get a nice views of the lake. You know what? Let's even set the park in motion. so you guys can see how the guests interact with everything. Then we have Thunder Alley right here, our little go-kart track here at the Lakeside Speedway. You can see the carts going around here. Looks pretty good. We've got the control tower down on the far left-hand side here. We've got a little bit of the backstage area and some advertisement for our different stuff in our park here. We'll go ahead and back out of here. We'll head back up this way here. Come across the planters we actually made in some earlier streams here that look very nice. We actually can walk up the hill here and see our beautiful flower clock that we just made and some of the curbing along the path here. I think we do need to add some more bushes, especially along the fence here and things like that, just to help tidy it up. But so far, I think it looks really nice. We actually come up this way. If it doesn't clip through the path, it did a little bit, but it's okay. We can fix that. We can actually walk along here. You can see the line for Shockwave is immense right now. So I'm trying to figure out what in the world's causing those circles. I have no idea. They're kind of driving me a little bit bonkers on what they are, but oh well. You can see here we're walking into the 80's Plaza now, and we actually can see the Shockwave sign that looks fantastic. You can see the safety guides there as well. Keep moving along here. The Exodus Shockwaves here. If you remember a couple streams ago, we actually did this little patio area here. It's kind of a nice relaxing spot for people who may not want to go on Shockwave, but you know, they're waiting on family members or friends. It's a great place to sit and relax and enjoy the day still. Come over here to our nice generic bathroom, as we've explained a little bit on how that works out. It looks pretty good, even with these older fountains in here. I think it still looks pretty nice. And we have Discus down here. We don't come down here very often, but you can see the backstage area. We do have quite a bit of activity back there. This is actually this was really a popular ride, but now it's recently kind of died down for some other rides in the park here. But it still looks really nice. And we have our backstage entrance here with our new gate it looks a lot newer than the other one because somebody accidentally took it out. It does happen. We have our bumper cars here on the left-hand side of the path here, and the path that wraps around towards Thunder Falls. We can walk along this way here. This is the other side of that patio here, and here is our Irish pub and the entrance to it. One of our big eating areas over here. Looks really nice, I think. We have a little bit of our mulch area over here, along with our cart selling some gulpy drinks and some cotton candy as well, and some ice cream treats as well in the back. Looks very nice. Continue walking around here. This is the back alley of our Irish pub, where our live band does play a couple times a day, as well as our full-service bar back here as well. So it looks pretty good. Quite a few things to sell there. Although it looks like our bartenders are a bit bored at the moment. But that is okay, because we'll keep on moving on this way. We'll head entrance around the corner to our Firehouse Mercantile. You can see here it's a fully interiored shop in here. Nice drop ceiling as well. This took us quite a while to get done, but I do quite like how that looks. We can actually head back down into more of the older or the newer section of the 80's parts of the late 80's. We actually do get to Thunder Falls here. One of our, this one took 4 or 5 streams to do, but I think it looks really nice. We do have some more generic rides over here that we probably should put some signs up for, which we really do need to put some signs up for. But we do have a breakdance, we do have a top spin ride, and we do have a Gravitron as well down here on the end as well. So, and then we also have our last little gulpy cart down here just on the corner. As we come back down around this here, so that's a little retaining wall and our backstage area from our go-karts. We do a lot of this. I did show this off at the beginning of the stream, but I figured I'd show it off again, guys. And really, guys, that is going to do it for me today. I think our 80s section has turned out pretty well. It does need a few more plants in some spots. It does need a few signs for the rides as well, but I think overall, I can't even get a full camera right now. There we go. So that is our full 80s section from the pizza store, which is underneath my head right now. Hold on. So from this pizza store over here, that's just above my head now, all the way over to Thunder Falls. This is our 80s section that we've been building on stream here. I've really been enjoying this, guys. I plan on continuing this, and even if this is more, this actually might be the stream that gets changed out. And what I mean by that, I might move this to either our Friday night or maybe a Saturday stream. I don't know quite yet. It's kind of depending on the schedule, guys. I'm hoping to continue doing this. At least if I have to cut it back to 2 days a week, I do want to keep Planet Coaster on the schedule, because I do like showing this off. I think people enjoyed this one the most. And yeah, I think this is where, you know, I really enjoy doing this on stream too. It kind of gives me a little more motivation to actually get this stuff done. So yeah, guys, that's going to be it for me today. Let me go ahead and pop over. I'm going to save the game first, but I'll pop over to the main camera here and just kind of wrap things up here. Save park, come on. Save park, yes. Alrighty, guys, pop that up here. Well, guys, thanks for joining me today. I really do appreciate it. If you guys are wondering how to help me out here, just all I'm looking for is followers right now. I think we're currently up to 37 or 36, somewhere around in there. So we need, you know, 13 or 14 more people to get to that 50 goal, and that's what we're trying to get to before the end of the year. Actually, coming up next week, if I'm not mistaken, is actually my 6-month anniversary for streaming on Twitch. So that's a pretty cool thing to see. You know, hopefully we might be able to do something special. I might be working, who knows? And that's kind of the thing. I want to keep doing this, guys. So if you want to, you know, if you're going to continue supporting me, that'd be fantastic to see more followers coming in. I'll know more next week on what my schedule is going to be. So if we have to move a few things around, I'm still hoping to stream. The streams might become a little later then. It might be like if I, you know, IT is a bit of an odd thing. You know, some of my jobs I worked at, you know, IT department get off at 3 or 4 o'clock. So maybe, you know, I might do something afterward. If not, I'll try to find some days off that we can go stream or stream later on in the day, maybe after dinner, maybe around 6 or 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, that is. And that might be kind of fun as well. So I hope you guys can stick with me here. We'll get through this week. You know, this will be like the last normal week for a little while at least. Same way, I still stream every Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, at least this week, from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tuesdays, we've been playing Planet Coaster. Thursdays, I'm not sure what we're going to be doing this week. I might try to do some more iRacing. The late models are at some track, and I looked it up today, and I don't remember. The legend cars are actually at Charlotte this week, so that might be something we might try to do. But on Fridays, we're actually going to be playing Mech Warrior again. Hopefully we can beat that one mission we were having so much issue with last time. Fingers crossed. So yeah, guys, I hope you have a great Wednesday. I'll see you guys back here on Thursday. Don't quite know what I'm going to be doing yet, but hopefully you can join me then. We can have some fun for a couple of hours. But until then, guys, you have a great afternoon and a great Wednesday.